All right, bye. I need to record.
I can be right there.
And so all my returning subscribers, okay, cars are passing. Great. Okay, just wait a minute. Great. Yeah, sure. Just do your thing. No big deal. Just. What's this? Stushy and it's your girl Stushy back with another video for all new followers. My name is Stushy. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back, y'all. What's up? That's too animated. Welcome back to my channel. To all new subscribers, I'm happy to have you guys join us for a new video. And for all my returning subscribers, welcome back to the channel. Happy to have you guys come back, check out another video. So today, as you guys can see from the title of the video, will be a story time. Yeah, so today's story time will be about Memorial Day weekend in Toronto that went wrong. I'm talking wrong, okay? It wasn't that bad, but it was definitely a memorable one. So let's take it from the top, okay? It was my former roommate's birthday weekend, and we decided to go to Toronto to, you know, celebrate. She decided to drive her car. Her car, she has a brand new car now, so I won't say it was beat up, but it was like, it was, you know, it was a car. Like, it was one of those cars where, you know, you go to college with it. It's convenient. It was a convenient car. It brought us places. Shout outs to you. I'm gonna call her the red thing, because she was a red car, but she brought us to many events, you know. But this time we were going to Canada. So I currently reside in Buffalo, and the border is maybe 30 minutes. Toronto is maybe like 2 hours from our place of residence. So we left in the nighttime as we went to duty free to get like alcohol and stuff like that. And you know, we made it through. So we ended up going to Paradise nightclub, where we enjoyed the night. And what else did we do? We got food, a whole bunch of extra stuff. I think we probably came home the Sunday. I want to say Memorial Day was like the Monday, so a lot of people were doing, you know, events related to the holiday the weekend before. So we decided to drive back to Buffalo like the Sunday. So of course there was traffic. I just remembered that. Okay, so of course there was traffic, but we went out to brunch with one of my roommate's friends that was a Canadian, and we ended up having to drive him back home. So I think he liked my roommate, so he ended up taking the long route. So he took advantage of the fact that we were bringing him home, and this took us at least another 45 minutes to bring him home before we actually got on the highway to head back to Buffalo. So with that being said, once we finally ended up getting on the road back to Buffalo, we were like stuck in traffic because a lot of people were commuting due to the fact that it was a holiday. So people were either leaving Canada or, you know, coming back from wherever they were coming from, maybe Montreal or whatever, which is another place in Canada. Once we got on the highway, you know, we were, you know, going about our business, but we took a left turn somewhere, so we had to pull off on a side road. The side road, however, was literally like the boondock, a country place, and we were literally in the middle of nowhere. There were houses there, but these houses were like all spread out. Across the street from the houses was all like farmland, so we literally were just seeing, you know, tall stalks of corn. It was just really like weird. It was kind of like a movie that you didn't want to be in, and we were in this movie. We don't have any cellular data. The place where we're at, there isn't any Wi-Fi because, you know, they're all residential homes, so we kind of lost track of like where we were with our GPS. There was no way to really figure out where we were, what route to get back onto, just to get back on the normal roads. We were like, crap, what the hell are we gonna do? To make matters worse, pretty hot, but we were burning up in the car. To my knowledge, she had the leather seats. If I remember correctly, the seats were leather. So in addition to it being a very hot May day, one of her windows, please forgive me if you're watching this video, but one of her windows didn't wind down. I want to say the passenger window didn't wind down, and the back windows probably winded down only like halfway, or they didn't wind down entirely, but the sunroof worked. The sunroof worked, yes. Okay, I'm scrambling, but it's because this was like 3 years ago. You have to like bear with me. So we were literally in the car like, yo, it's mad hot. Like, why is it so hot? One of these windows don't work. The sunroof is not putting through enough air in the car so we feel, you know, cool. It was just horrible. And we were in the middle of nowhere with no GPS, no idea where we were, like how we were gonna get back on the road to get back to the United States. Mind you, we're at least 2 hours out and no access to the world. At that same point, I looked straight ahead at the dashboard, and I realized like the dashboard was steaming, but I didn't know anything about cars. This is prior to me having my own car, but I knew like something wasn't right. Maybe the engine was overheating, I don't really know. So the dashboard was steaming. To this day, I really don't know what the hell happened. I forgot if it was the accelerant that blew. Something happened. All the car enthusiasts probably know what I'm talking about, but something occurred. Basically, you know that little thermometer thingy inside the car in the dashboard? There's a H and a C. Somebody's gonna flame me in the comments because I have no idea what it actually means, and it's sad because I have a car. But it's always supposed to be like in the middle. It should never be at C unless obviously it's really cold outside, and that's when you should heat up your car a little bit. So it goes halfway. Hers was all the way at H. The car was hot. It was steaming. It was literally, I don't know if it was about to catch a fire, but it was really, really hot. So at that point, we were like, okay, something's not right. Like, something's not right at all. So she got outside of the car, she opened the hood, and obviously we saw even more steam because, you know, the car was right about to catch on fire. Who the hell knows? But thank God it didn't. None of us knew what the hell was going on. We were all girls. Actually, there was somebody else with us. There was a guy with us, but he honestly didn't know what the hell was going on either. Now that I think about it. Anyway, realized that we needed to ask somebody for help. So we started knocking on doors, and we're in a community where so it was kind of intimidating, and maybe a little embarrassing, to be honest, because we didn't know what the hell to do. We didn't know where we were. We didn't know like what the next step was. Like, we didn't know how to approach the topic because we didn't know what the hell was going on with the car. And just think about it, random people just pulling off in a residential area, and it wasn't really as residential as I said before. It seemed like a farm area, if that makes any sense. So these people were kind of hesitant to open the door, as I would have been myself. One person finally came out and he was like, okay, this is what you need to do. He allowed us to use his phone, so she had to call her mom because we're in a new country, and it was a Sunday, it was a holiday, and we needed a tow truck by this point. The owner of the home was trying to help us. His wife was kind of standoffish because, you know, she probably was like, why are you helping these people? We don't know where they're from. We were finally able to get a tow truck. I'll insert the video somewhere here.
Never been in a truck. Never been in a truck. They said it's just a fan now. The fan of the engine. That's all it is now.
We were literally in the tow truck with the car hooked onto the actual tow truck to like the nearest mechanic. You know, we didn't bring money for that event. Like, we had no idea that that would have occurred. We got to the tow shop and he was saying basically that nobody could fix the car at that time. And we're like, what do you mean nobody could fix the car this time? Like, we gotta get home. We only planned to stay there for a short amount of time. We had already checked out of our hotel. We were all packed, so we had no other option but to go home, stay a few more nights. That wasn't a part of the plan. So the mechanics ended up saying that we had to leave the car. There was no way that we were gonna leave Canada in that car. Great. Can you imagine? Now we're stranded in Canada. No cellular data still, because usually when we're in places like that, we use like the hotel Wi-Fi, or any restaurant we go to, we use their Wi-Fi, but now we're literally nowhere that has Wi-Fi. So we had to reach out to people in the United States. We ended up calling a friend, and he was able to get his friend to drive to come and get us. We had to send him our location. He finally met us, and we leave the car. She was saddened that she had to leave the car, but you know, nothing could be done. We started to commute back to Buffalo. Finally, right? Yeah, it gets better. So we finally get to the border. We think we're home free. We think we're about to just go home. It's been a long day, a hot day at that. We're almost caught on fire in the car, who knows? And we get to the United States border. There's a hella long line. We're literally sitting in traffic for at least 40 minutes. And by this point, we're all over it. We've had enough. We're fed. And by the time we finally get to the border to hand them our passports, we're like 3 cars behind, and we see them bringing canines out. Canines? The canines are sniffing cars because it's a popular holiday. People are trying to enter the United States. Some people are going back home to Toronto. They have security at an all-time high. So the canines start sniffing around the car, and we're like, what the hell is going on? Like, we've already had a long day. We don't need no extra crap, okay? The canine starts sniffing around the car, and for some reason, like, he's lingering by the car. Now, I didn't know the person that came to pick us up, but I was just happy to bring my ass home, okay? I needed to get back to a place that was comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't ask any questions. The friend said that he had somebody to pick us up. We said, okay, cool, let's go. Like, tell him to pull up, and, you know, we appreciate his services. But for some reason, the canine was just like lingering around our car. So we were like, okay, you know, we started to get curious. Like, does this guy have drugs on him? Was he smoking weed? Like what's going on? The car didn't smell like any weed to me. We finally get to the booth and they take our passports. At the border, they like to ask you a lot of random questions. What are you here for?
Where did you stay?
What's your mom's name?
What did you do while you were in Toronto?
What food did you eat?
They ask you a bunch of random stuff, just credibility. See if you're lying, see if they could spot something, you being nervous, or, you know, try to fish out people that might be criminals. Understandable. So we answer the questions regularly. They're like, okay, can everyone step out of the car, please?
We need everyone to step out of the car.
What I gotta step? Everyone? For what? So we all step out of the car. We're like, okay, what's going on? Like, what's going on? They literally did an entire check of the car. They searched the car, opened our, like, I think I brought a duffel bag. They open your duffel bag. But while we're inside, they have us line up. And the K9 walked and sniffed every single one of us. Literally sniffed every single one of us. And this is a big ass canine. This is, I don't know if you guys ever seen a canine, like a police dog. Big, okay? They're pretty dang big. I don't mind dogs, but one of my other roommates that accompanied us on the trip, she was freaking out. She's like, I'm like, bro, you have to relax, because now they're gonna think that, you know, something's going on, or, you know, it's just not a good look. Try to stay calm so that we can get up out of here. Imagine being stranded in Toronto, and now when you're finally trying to get back home, they're like, they won't let you get through the border. Apparently, the driver smoked prior to coming to pick us up. So of course, canines are trained. They're trained to sniff out pretty much everything, to my knowledge. And he sniffed out that weed. And of course, now I'm mad as hell. I can't even get home. You got us being searched after the long ass day we already had. Did you not think about this prior to coming to pick us up? Like, on any other day, maybe we'd have been able to slide, but they upped security because of the fact that it was a holiday. Why would you do anything extra that might, you know, raise a red flag? I was livid. They realized that we didn't have anything on us, so they let us go. We drove back home, made it home safely, thank God. I literally thought the day was never gonna end. Literally thought the day was never ever gonna end. After that, I was just like, okay, I need to just stay in. But it was my roommate's birthday that night, so after the long day that we had, we're like, yo, should we even go out? Because we had plans to, you know, dress up and go out, have a little drink and stuff. In the United States, being that we celebrated in Canada, we wanted to, you know, engage in some activities with friends that didn't accompany us on the trip. We were literally in the house that night like, damn, should we go out? Today has already shown us so much. Do we want to risk this night? We ultimately decided to go out, and the night ended up turning out fine, but it just made me think, like, first of all, if I'm going on a trip nowadays, I do a whole rundown. I make sure I have air in my tires. I make sure I have gas. I make sure I try to check everything out before I go anywhere. And granted, things happen. There are things that are uncontrollable, but that made me really pay attention to my temperature gauge inside of my car now, because I'm like, okay, if it's going past a certain level, or if it's still on C, I need to wait a little bit for it to, like, try to get to the middle, or, you know, sometimes you gotta go. But H is never where you want it to be, and I realized that on that day. Like, your car can overheat and you can literally be trapped in the car if you don't know, like, what's going on. I could have had a panic attack had I been by myself. I know how I am. I really and truly, how I am, I'm dramatic. I would have literally gotten out of the car and ran, because I would have thought the car was gonna blow up. But we didn't realize, in the midst of it being hot, in the midst of us having fun, driving home, just trying to get back to the United States, that something was wrong. And there we were in a tow truck. We're trying to figure out a way to make it back home. So, moral of the story is, pay attention to your signs that your car is showing you. Pay attention. Like, always have a backup plan. If you're going out of the country, this is for one. If you're going out of the country, bring like an extra credit card, bring extra cash. If you're crossing the border, don't have drugs on you, like, or don't use drugs and then cross the border. Like, they're trained to sniff this stuff out. They're trained to sniff out weird behavior. They're trained to sniff out people that could potentially be lying. Just try to stay clear of that. Just wait till you get on the other side to engage in all your extra activities, just because you don't know where you can end up. They could be pulling you out of a car trying to sniff you out with a canine dog. Just don't do it, okay? This was one of the longest days that I've ever endured. I remember it vividly. A lot of it was funny now that we look back. I'm sure even after we got home that night, we really were sitting in the house like, yo, today was long as hell. Like, what did we do to deserve this? But that's just life. I remember we literally were at home laughing about it, like, Yo, we were really in a tow truck. I've never been in a tow truck. I've never had, where's the wood? I've never had my car towed. I've never been in a tow truck up until that day, and it was definitely a memorable experience. We laughed about it at the end, but in the heat of the moment, I'm sure now my roommate definitely looks at her temperature gauge in her car, if that's what it's even called. I don't know what it's called. I'll be making up names, but I'm sure to this day she looks at that car temperature gauge just to make sure that everything is nice and in the middle, so she doesn't ever run into that problem again. But boy, I tell you, thank God we were able to make it back home safe and sound after all the other things that we endured. But nonetheless, we made it back home. And have I been back to Kansas since? I have been back to Kansas since. But with that being said, that is the end of today's story time. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if your car has ever been towed in the comments, or if anything like this has ever happened to you. Something, let me know your opinions in the comments. And if you liked today's video, be sure to click that subscribe button, and also be sure to click the like button, and also make sure you click that notification bell button. That way you're notified the next time that I upload another story time. And until next time, great, and see you.